Hello and welcome back to Reddit Read, a channel where we read Reddit stories and discuss them a little bit. No AI voices here, I read the stories myself. Today's theme is red for can you guess what? That's right, it's revenge. Some of the best revenge stories ever are on Reddit and we're gonna take a look at some of them today. So without any further ado, let's get into our first story, which comes from Pro Revenge, which is a subreddit for some of the best revenge stories on all of Reddit, so you know it's gonna be good. And the title reads, "You break me, I systematically destroy your entire life." I apologize up front for the rather lengthy post, but it's all true and was my greatest revenge. It all starts about 10 years ago. I was happily engaged to a girl who I knew for about 9 years, but had only been dating for about 1 year. Let's call her Nancy McFuckbag. I might have to bleep that because that may be in the first minute of the video, but anyways. All was good. She had her dream engagement ring, we had a nice house together, both had steady jobs, and the wedding plans were coming along nicely. About 2 months prior to the wedding, we found out we were going to have a baby. Such happiness had never been felt before. Wedding plans continued, and the big day was only 28 days away. I come home from work and find that Nancy isn't home. I call her to see if she got held up in work and to see what time she might be home. But Nancy wasn't at work. She was at her grandmother's house in another state. Nancy calmly told me that she no longer wanted to get married and that she was not coming home. Complete and utter shock. What the fuck just happened? I try to call her back. Her phone is off. I call her grandmother. No answer. What about the wedding? What about our baby? What about everything? No answers, no contact for 3 days. 3 days of no breath in my body, no clues or nothing. On day 4, Nancy shows up and starts packing her stuff. She won't say a word to me. Nothing. She leaves and sends me an email saying that she can't be with me. Again, no reasons. I begin calling her sister and asking what the fuck happened. Her sister tells me that she has no idea but gives me their mom's phone number. Strange. Nancy said her mom was out of the picture because she was an abusive alcoholic. Nevertheless, I call mom. Mom tells me that I am lucky number 3 who has fallen for this trap. Nancy cut her mom out of her life so she couldn't ruin Nancy's game of milking guys for money and resources. Nancy has been pregnant twice before and had miscarriages and milked guys for everything she could before running off to super Christian grandma's house and claiming abuse so grandma will take her in until the dust settles and she can do it again. What the fuck? Weeks go by and still no contact with Nancy. I've lost 20 pounds and have been counseled at my job for poor work performance. My family is mad as fuck. Family members lost money on travel plans to the wedding, and I am mortified. I lost all of my deposits on everything for the wedding since it was less than 30 days before it was canceled. I'm piss broke. I check our joint bank account. Negative 2K. Fuck. Guess I won't be paying the mortgage. I start to get my shit together and my sadness turns to rage. I had so much anger inside of me I actually had to scale it back a bit or I might have gone to prison. A month and a half after the split, I get a text. I had a miscarriage. You stressed me out too much and my daughter is dead now. Daughter? I was having a daughter? You're blaming me for this? That's it. I'm going to kill this bitch. No, wait. Breathe. Get your shit together. Take this bitch apart at the seams. A few days of Xanax and whiskey get me over the hump of sadness again. Back to rage. Let's do this. Most of Nancy's shit was still at my house, which I have to walk away from because I can't afford it. I start to pack it all up in order to get rid of it somehow, but I stumble upon a few things. Her resume and her checkbook to her personal bank account. I read her resume. It's all bullshit, like everything else. I hop on the computer, create a new Yahoo email address, and send a long letter to her corporate office telling them a line by line how it's all lies. Feels good. Operation Checkbook. I sign her name on every check and rip them all out of the book. I drive 30 minutes to the seediest part of town and leave them on a sidewalk in front of an AM/PM. Too much good stuff. I go back home and throw out all of her shit. Fuck it. Sue me, bitch. Except her laptop. I need that shit. 2 weeks go by. Nancy calls. I don't answer. Voicemail says she got laid off due to cutbacks. I know that's not true. Fuck yeah. 2 more weeks go by and letters from some district attorneys' bad check reinstitution program begin to trickle into the mail. Fuck yeah. Oh, and the registration renewal for her car? Shred all that shit. Oh, well, I'm at it. I might as well put a change of address in for her at the post office. Where to? The temporary shelter for the homeless sounds good. I hear through a mutual friend that since Nancy is out of work and now she's staying with friends and supported financially by super Christian grandma, fuck that. I hop on her laptop and make a new Yahoo email address that is only one number different from Nancy's real email. I email super Christian grandma a video of Nancy finger blasting herself that I had saved. I titled the email, "Hey grandma, check this out." Oh my God. "Hey grandma, check out this video I took of my job. I hope I uploaded it right." Fuck yeah. Email reply, "You were disgusting. I hope your new job pays well because I'm not supporting you if you act like that. Oh damn, a 2-for-1 deal. Embarrassment and financial distress? Nice." Weeks go by and I get a call from a rent-a-center. What the fuck? "Oh, they want all of Nancy's furniture back?" I had no idea it was all rent-to-own shit. I tell them I don't have it. They argue and says she does have it. I stick to my guns and tell them I do not have it and don't know where it is. That night I burn it all in the yard. $4,200 owed. Zing. I find out that Nancy has a new job, and as I'm planning my next move, I hear great news. Nancy has been arrested and is in jail for embezzlement. Apparently, she had some money problems and stole $5,000 out of petty cash and got busted. Oh God, this is great. She fucked herself. Months go by with no updates, and I hear from a friend that she was just bailed out of jail yesterday by grandma only after a few days and ended up taking a plea bargain for a felony conviction and 3 years of probation along with restitution. Wrecked. I hang my hat and call it a day. I've got my revenge. I'll leave it there. Time to move on. A couple months later, the phone rings. It's a repo company looking for info on where Nancy is because they are trying to repossess her car. Ha ha ha. Okay, one last nail in the coffin. I make a few calls and find the address where she is staying. I call the repo company back and give them the info. They thank me and say I'm eligible for a $100 reward if they get the car back. No thanks, this one's on me. Nancy is now a felon, jobless, and a single mom of a kid she recently had from some random guy. She lives in an apartment with her brother and his girlfriend. I am happily married with a beautiful daughter and a great life. Yesterday, I get a Facebook message from Nancy. "Congrats on the marriage and daughter. I'm glad you're happy." I reply, "Go fuck yourself." She blocks me. Life is good. Sometimes taking the low road heals the soul. Wow. Holy fuck. I kept thinking he was done, but he just kept going with more and more shit. I don't think I should have done this story last because I don't think anything else is going to top this because what the hell? You know, it's a good thing that Reddit is anonymous because a lot of this shit that he did is illegal. But I'm sure he feels really good about getting revenge. You know, revenge is one of those things that it's like, you know, you shouldn't do it, but if you do it right, you're going to feel so much better after you do it. Wow. This is leaving me speechless. I don't even know what to say about this one. Let's read some of the comments. "I don't understand. You say that you knew her for 9 years and you didn't know about the 2 other fiancés her mother claimed she had. And if she was a con artist after money/resources, why did she not marry you? Why did she sacrifice a lifetime of resources for a couple of thousand from your joint bank account?" OP responded to that and said the timeline of our relationship is a bit more convoluted, but I left out some details. Basically, we were friends and briefly dated in the late 90s. I joined the military, a few wars happened, and we lost contact. This was when social media wasn't very prevalent, so I didn't know her every move. We reconnected after I got out of the military, and this is the rest. As for her motivation on the hit and run, I have no clue. This bitch is a straight-up sociopath. Wow, this is just insane. And like I said, a lot of the stuff he did is probably illegal. I mean, forging her signature on an entire checkbook, that is highly illegal. And I'm actually kind of surprised that he hasn't gotten in trouble for that. Because even though Nancy sucks, if somebody forged your name in an entire checkbook and is trying to, you know, cash checks, like signed over checks in your name, I think any sane person would go after who's ever trying to do that. And she probably knows that it's him. So I'm surprised that she didn't go after him for that, unless he just didn't put that in here. Maybe he's actually been in jail because he forged all those checks, because I think that's probably the most illegal thing that he did here. Yeah, I mean, like, I understand this guy's rage and anger with this, because, I mean, let's see. They knew each other for 9 years, but they'd only been dating for about a year, but... Well, I think the advice should be don't get married after a year, because you really don't know. I think you can't know a person well enough to know if you need to get married or not after a year. But that's just me. But I'm not blaming this guy for being the problem here because he's not. But honestly, I kind of want like a movie about this Nancy girl's life because this sounds like a plot of a movie that Rebel Wilson would star in. Like she's actually she is in a movie. I don't remember what it's called, but she is in a movie where she's like a con artist and she does this. She just gets with men to use them for their money, and she's like a professional con artist. I don't remember what that movie is called. It's with her and somebody else. I don't remember. I think I've seen parts of it, but I don't think. Oh, you know what it is? I watched part of that movie on a plane with my friend, but I never finished watching it, I don't think, and I don't remember what it's called either. But it's a movie with Rebel Wilson and one other female lead character, but Rebel Wilson is a con artist, and she basically does this. She just gets with a bunch of men just to con them for money. Yeah, this one's just crazy. Just one more thing I want to mention here is he says, I check our joint bank account negative 2K. So she overdrew their joint bank account. And the only thing I want to say about this is why you should never, ever have joint finances, because I used to work at a financial, and I have seen this like so many times with divorces, and working there has taught me to never have joint finances with anyone ever. Just don't do it, because this could end up happening to you, and you don't want that to happen to you. And so many people do not really understand what a joint bank account is. That means you are both equal owners. If one person wants to come in and drain the entire account and close it, they can do that. If you put your money from your own personal bank account into an account that you are joint on with somebody else, it is no longer your money. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that. So never have joint finances with anyone ever. That's my advice. So yeah, that's our first story. And, I don't compile these stories myself because I don't want to read them completely beforehand. I didn't know that one was going to be that insane. I feel like the other ones, there's no way they can really top that one. So I should have put that one last, but I hadn't read it, so I didn't know to put it last. But that's our first story. On to our next one. Alrighty, this one comes from Malicious Compliance, which as far as I know is basically a subreddit where it's like somebody tells you to do something and you technically are doing what they're asking you to do, but you're doing it in a way that inconveniences them. So it's like, well, I did what you asked me to do, right? But in a way that annoys them. So we'll see what this one is about. The title reads, if you don't like it, then leave. Okay, I will. Okay, there's a cast for this one. So the cast is Karen manager, store manager, meat manager, and grocery manager. This story takes about 2 months before I quit my job at the grocery store and started my first year of college. This story has a bit of exposition, so please bear with me. I was glad when I got to put my Karen manager in her place. Things had slowly started to cool down, and for the next few months, it was business as usual. The old store manager had to open another store, so they brought in a new one. This one was very professional and quite kind. This store manager always recognized various employees in different departments for their hard work. This recognition of us lower employees made our Karen manager less happy. I had started to notice a lot more people being hired, and everyone's hours suffered because of it. I found out later that they did this because part-time employees could be paid less and they wanted to cut cost. 'Tis the life of a retail worker. I wanted to keep making money in preparation for college, so I went into Karen manager's office and said, "Me, hey manager, I noticed my hours were being cut and I wanted to see if I could pick up some extra shifts." She scoffed at me and said, "It's a department-wide decision. If you want hours, go to another department. I wouldn't waste your time though." I looked at her confused and asked, "Why not?" "They only have hardworking employees in their department, so you wouldn't fit in." I was dumbfounded. I thought Karen's BS bully routine was over, but boy, was I wrong. I stood there unsure what to say. Meanwhile, Karen manager had another umbrage smile plastered on her face. I just turned around and walked out of her office. I didn't know if Karen manager had already lied to the other managers or not, but I might as well ask. I first went to the meat department and explained my situation. I told the manager that our department's hours were being cut and asked if I could do anything to help them out. The meat manager smiled warmly and said, "I understand how frustrating low hours can be. We have a guy on vacation for a few weeks and we have had to stay late to wash all the pans and plates for our meat. It's simple washing and drying. You get to wear headphones within reason, and you would make what a starting meat associate would. Want the job? I was beaming and immediately took the offer. The job was simple as he promised, and I took it seriously. I wanted to show other managers that I was a hard worker and reliable. 3 weeks passed by with no issue. Inevitably, their missing associate came back, and I had to be let go from that position. Luckily, I had spoken to the grocery manager the day before, and our conversation was somewhat similar. I explained my situation, and she understood. You just need to tidy up the shelves, put out product on aisle-labeled carts, and help unload trucks when they come in. Your pay will be a starting grocery associate pay. For context, both types of associate pay were an increase from my normal department. I took the offer and immediately helped the grocery department. Everything was fine until grocery hired a full-time employee, and I had to go back to my normal department. I expected business as usual, but I got one hell of a surprise. The first day back, a Karen manager yanked me in her office, and the conversation went like this. What the hell do you think you're doing, OP? I told you, our department hours were cut. Me. I know, you said I could try working with those other departments. You also said some other nasty things, but I don't care to repeat those. She glared at me and said, OP, you are making our department look bad. We are trying to cut costs, and you are burning through hours we don't have. I decided to correct this smug Karen and said, I understand you want to cut costs and you only have so many hours. I didn't want to take up any extra hours from our department. I took your rude suggestion and worked for other departments that were short-staffed and had an abundance of hours. I did nothing wrong. She growled at me and said, listen, OP, it's not fair to others in our department if you get full-time and other employees don't. I held my ground and said, this system of hiring tons of part-timers is stupid and it's hurting quality full-time employees who need the hours. If you insist on hiring all those people, there's nothing stopping them from doing exactly what I did. There are plenty of departments that could use help. I was fed up with Karen's attitude and spoke my mind. Manager says, if you think my management practice is so ridiculous, then you can just leave. I was tired of her BS and just smiled, okay, I will. I turned in my effects and clocked out. I said bye to my friends and drove home. The next day I was enjoying sleeping in for once when I got a phone call. It was the new store manager. I answered, hello, store manager, how are you this morning? Store manager, sorry to bother you, OP, but could you come back to the store? I looked over the firing of you yesterday and Karen manager was totally out of line. I talked to the other managers you've worked for and they all had glowing reviews of your work. We are pretty short-staffed and we need you back. I smiled. It was always nice to be needed after all. If you transfer me to grocery effective immediately with a pay bump to boot, I will help your department when needed, but I want grocery manager as my new boss. Store manager says, done. I just pulled your file and transferred you over. You have my word, grocery manager is your new boss and Karen manager has no authority over you anymore. I will be having a long talk with her over her managerial practices, believe me. I smirked and said, I will see you in 10 minutes. I drove to the store and walked in, picked up my effects from the store manager and shook his hand. I saw the shocked form of Karen manager and snickered. I turned to a nearby customer with a smile. These last few weeks were going to be the best. Wow, that had a great ending, because listen, anyone who's worked in this type of environment, retail, fast food, any type of service work or anything like that, I've been there. We've all dealt with managers like this. And I think a lot of us can say that we've probably left that because of managers like this. But this actually turned out good for OP, which is surprising because usually it doesn't. Usually in these type of environments, even the person who is managing the manager is even dumber than your manager. So I totally get this. I've never worked in a grocery store specifically, but I have worked in fast food. I've worked service jobs since I was 15. I get this so much. And yeah, it ultimately was the reason why I did leave my fast food job because there was a management change and I absolutely hated it. And there was nothing I could really do about it. I didn't have like another higher up manager, like grocery manager, or another department. I mean, it's a food place. There's one department. So it's nice to hear something like a good story actually coming out of the service world. So that's nice to hear. Let's read some of the comments here. Stupid manager. She could have supported you and gotten secondhand credit for recognizing talent. Yes. Another comment here. People don't quit their jobs. They quit their managers. That is That is a true statement. You know, I don't think I've ever upvoted a single thing ever on Reddit. I am upvoting this. You're not going to be able to see this. Oh, because it's not going to focus. I have manual focus, but you can see the red right there. I upvoted that comment because that is so true. And then someone commented on that and said, I have quit several managers. I have never quit a job. Oh my God, this is so, I sound so millennial right now. This is so real, guys. But it's true. Like I would probably still be at like one of my previous jobs if we did not get new management, because I didn't hate the job. Like I liked the job, but the management, I tried for 8 months and I just could not do it after that management change. I couldn't do it. You know, and the way that this story plays out, I feel like this is what, when people quit a job like this, because of their manager, especially in this type of like service work field, this is almost what everyone secretly hopes will happen, that they'll call them and come crying back and be like, no, actually, we realized how much we really need you. I'm so sorry. It almost never happens, but it did happen here, and I'm happy for OP. Because, I mean, like, you got to admit, when you just absolutely hate your manager and you're like, and you're just complaining at work all day and you're like, they wouldn't be able to, they're going to fall apart without me. Like, honestly, the greatest revenge when quitting a job for a shitty manager is going back there after you quit as like a customer and seeing how much they're struggling without you. That is the greatest thing ever, because honestly, so many managers completely take their employees and the hard work that they do for granted. And this is a perfect example of a manager doing that, and a manager in a different department actually recognizing that and valuing the hard work of the employee. Like, and I honestly just can't believe how common this is, where you have like a manager and an employee, where an employee's like, I want to do more work. And the manager's like, no, you cannot do more work. You're working too hard. You know what? You are working too hard. You're going to get written up for that. Is basically, oh God, I never want to go back to the service world ever, because there are way too many managers like this. And if you've ever worked in service, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyways, on to our next story, which comes from Am I the Asshole, but was reposted onto Best of Redditor Updates. There's only one update, but apparently it's one of the best ones. So let's find out. The title reads, Am I the asshole for refusing to share my inheritance with the siblings who are now threatening to sue me for undue influence? My father passed away a few months ago. In his will, he left his entire estate to me, explicitly disinheriting my brother Mark, 40-year-old guy, and sister Jenna, 38-year-old woman. Thing is, 10 years ago, my father gave them $150K each as an advance on their inheritance to start businesses because they begged and begged. He had a lot of money back then, so it wasn't much to him. Both of them blew it within 2 years, vacation, cars, etc., and had the nerve to ask him for more. When he refused, they got cruel. They stopped visiting, wouldn't let him see his grandkids, and badmouthed him to the entire family, claiming he was a miser who was hoarding their money. I was the one who was there for him. I took him to doctor's appointments, helped him with finances, without ever touching a dime for myself, because unlike my siblings, I have a great job that I worked hard for. And was with him in hospice when he died. It was just me and him at the end. His will is ironclad, written by his longtime lawyer, and includes a clause stating they received their share during my lifetime. Mark and Jenna are furious. They've been blowing up my phone saying I poisoned him against me. They're bad-mouthing me to the family, and I'm getting phone calls from relatives that I should help them. Now they've hired a lawyer, and today I was served papers. They are threatening to contest the will, claiming I took advantage of our father in his old age and used undue influence to get him to cut them out. They offered to drop the lawsuit if I give them $100K each. I told them to get lost and that I would never give them a single cent of our father's money after how they treated him. I am so angry I can barely speak. Am I the asshole for telling them I'd see them in court and refusing to give them anything? I'm honestly worried that fighting this in court will take more in legal fees than just paying them, but I'm so angry that I need an outside opinion because I've lost perspective. Okay, this is, I don't like these kids, the two kids, Jenna and Mark. I don't like them because their father was nice enough to give them each Yes, each $150,000 to start their own business. And what did they do with that? They blew that shit. And you know what they say? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. He didn't get fooled twice. Yeah, these kids are just trying to like nickel and dime everything they possibly can out of their father passing away, which is fucking terrible. I mean, at least from the way that this is written, and of course we have to take it for what it is. Like the two kids did not help the father at all when he was in hospice, when he was about to die. And they just sound like terrible people, and I think this should just be a lesson to those two kids. Maybe you should treat your parents a little bit better. Otherwise, this is what happens. I mean, I also just, I can't imagine somebody being generous enough to give you $150,000 to start a business. Like $150,000, you could start a fantastic business with that. And they chose to blow it instead. When he specifically said, hey, I'm going to give you this money so you can start a business. I mean, we don't know the details of it. Who even knows if those kids asked for this money or if the dad was just like, hey, here's this money, go and start a business, or I'm going to disown you. Or if the kids wanted to start a business and asked him for money and then just blew it anyways. We don't know. But either way, this guy donated $150,000 to each of them. So $300,000 total for them to start their own businesses, and they blew the money instead. Like, I don't blame the guy for cutting them completely out of his will. Like, I don't blame him at all. And it's also written in his will that the two kids already received their share of the inheritance during his lifetime. So he already has it stated in his will that they already got their inheritance. It was that $150K that they decided to blow. So even according to his will, they already got their inheritance. So I think she should take him to court over this because she's going to win, because it's already written in his will. Like, there's no way the two kids would win this. But let's read some of the comments here. Not the asshole. Like the will states, your siblings received their inheritance while your father was alive. You know you have nothing to feel guilty about. Even if you gave them the money, they would blow through it and ask again for handouts, as it's not fair. You still have money and they don't. Block them and carry on with your life knowing you were there for your dad. Yeah, I agree. Another comment here. Not the asshole. Don't give them a cent. They are bluffing. They can try to sue, but they would need some proofs in order for the trial to take place. As they don't have anything, the trial probably won't even happen. And then the original poster responded to that and said, I thought the same thing until I got search papers and it all became real. I'm going to call a lawyer once I stop fuming. I just hate the idea of losing any money at all over this. The worst is I feel like I'm the only one in this family who's grieving, and I'm just so drained over all this. It's been a very long few months. Also, I really like my nieces and nephews. The idea of not seeing them again is awful. Yeah, that's the other thing too, is that like their dad died and all these two kids care about is the money. They're like, oh, my dad died. Great. Where's my money? That's all they care about here. They don't even care that their dad is dead, which is sad. All right, but let's find out what happens because we have an update. It's kind of a short update, but an update nonetheless. This was posted 2 days after the original post. Just wanted to make a quick update. Thanks to everyone who suggested contacting the lawyer who drew up the will. I sent him all the papers and texts I received, and it turned out that sending people texts in California that say things like, it won't stop until you give us the money, is considered criminal extortion by letter, which is a felony. He contacted their lawyer, and it turns out they'd lied to him about a lot of things, and he was not enthused about the extortion. Everything fell apart pretty fast, and it didn't cost me anything. I'll probably never see my nieces and nephews again, at least not until they're much older, and the other family members are angry at me because they feel the extortion was actually my fault for giving them no other options. I decided I'm going to just move away and find peace somewhere else after I'm done dealing with the estate. I can't believe things got so ugly over money, but I'm out. Some people commented in my original post that they'd had similar experiences, and I really feel for you all. It's a really unfair position to be put in, and there's a helplessness element to it that just sucks. Learned a valuable lesson about the importance of keeping receipts. Okay, so all the other family members also suck because they're blaming OP here for giving them no other options. No, the option is what's written in the will. And the will says, you already got your inheritance and you were an asshole to me, so you're not getting anything else. And OP's getting it. I mean, and this is the thing about some of these Reddit posts is it's so common for the like original poster to like clearly not be in the wrong. Like they're clearly not the asshole, but for some reason the family sides with the other family members that are the asshole. And I just don't get it. One comment from that update here: consider writing letters for your nibblings. I hate that word. It's the nieces and nephews, but I absolutely hate that. I'm going to read that again, but not say that word. Consider writing letters for your nieces and nephews, giving them a short summary of the truth of what happened, since you know their parents are going to absolutely trash you to them, and let them know you'll always love them and be there for them. Then talk with your lawyer if it's possible to have those letters served to them on their 18th birthdays. That's a great idea, actually, because that is true. Like, OP's upset that they're not going to be able to see their nieces and nephews now, which does suck. And the commenter's right. Like, the parents are definitely going to trash talk and be like, oh, your Aunt Jackie, yeah, she's terrible because she hoarded all that money. So yeah, I think writing them some letters to tell them the truth about what happened, I think that's actually a great idea. So that was some failed revenge there, because the two kids tried to get some revenge and their plan epically backfired and failed because they're terrible people. And I guess all they care about after their father's death is getting his money. All right, so our next story, which comes from r/revenge stories, which I've actually never heard of before, so this is a new subreddit for me. Title reads, my coworker kept stealing my lunch for months. Here's how it ended. How did it end? Let's find out. So this all started back in the fall. I work in a mid-sized office, open kitchen, one shared fridge. I always brought the same thing on Tuesdays, leftover pasta from Sunday, usually in a blue Tupperware with my name written on a piece of tape. Nothing fancy, but it was genuinely the best thing about my Tuesday. I'm not even joking. Then one day it was just gone. I figured maybe I misremembered, brought it home or something. Next Tuesday, gone again. This went on for like 6 or 7 weeks. I started asking around quietly and nobody admitted anything. People just kind of shrugged. My manager said maybe label it better, which thanks for nothing, Karen. So my husband suggested I try something. I made the exact same pasta, but this time I mixed in a pretty generous amount of ghost pepper sauce, like way more than any normal person would ever put in food. Sealed it up, taped my name on it, put it in the fridge. Tuesday morning, like always, I went back at lunch and it was gone again. I didn't say a word, just heated up the backup sandwich I brought and sat down. About 20 minutes later, I hear this guy from accounting, let's call him D, making a very distinct kind of noise in the break room. Coughing, gasping, running water. He came out looking like he'd seen a ghost and his eyes were completely red. He didn't say a single word to me or anyone, just grabbed his bag and went home sick for the rest of the day. Nobody ever touched my lunch again after that. I never confronted him, never told anyone officially, didn't have to. Some things just have a way of working themselves out. That is amazing. I love that. I can't understand the audacity of someone to just take somebody else's lunch. Like I've never had this happen to me at a job before, but I just couldn't imagine walking up to the office fridge and just ransacking it like it's your own fridge and be like, what do we got here? Oh, that's Amanda's? Oh, I'm going to eat that. I just can't understand people's logic with doing that. And like, this is my favorite type of revenge, like revenge that doesn't hurt anybody, doesn't do anything illegal, but just heavily inconveniences the person that's doing the shitty thing in a way that doesn't harm them at all, in a way that's just kind of like fun or like, haha, I got you. Because I always wonder what goes through people's heads of the people that are doing this after like he's eaten this thing with the ghost peppers in it and he's like, why did I do that? I wonder what's going through his head after he's realized like, maybe I shouldn't be eating other people's foods. Like, I wonder if they actually realize that or if they're just like, maybe I should be more careful next time and check what's in the food before I eat somebody else's food. I don't know. And this story is good written as is, but I think I can one up this even more. I think what she should have done is she should have gotten about 10 laxatives, cut them all up into powder, and then put it in this Tuesday pasta. She should have cut up like 10 laxatives and like powdered it all across the pasta and then put more pasta on top of it so he wouldn't see, and then watch him come to the office next day, or not even come, like call in sick, and you're the only one that knows why. I think that would have been funny. But anyways, on to our final story today, which comes from Am I the Asshole? Not even a revenge subreddit, so let's see what we got. The title reads, Am I the asshole for exposing my sister's affair at my wedding after she tried to sabotage my relationship? Yikes. Okay, I need some serious advice because I've been getting a lot of mixed reactions from my family, and I'm wondering if I overreacted. I, 27-year-old woman, recently got married to my husband, Ben, 30-year-old man, after a 3-year engagement. Our wedding was the biggest day of my life, and I wanted everything to go perfectly. Unfortunately, my sister, Lena, 19-year-old woman, decided to turn it into a total disaster. Here's the backstory. Lena and I have always had a pretty close relationship, but over the last year, things started getting rocky. It all started when I noticed her acting weird around Ben, kind of flirty, always texting him, and being a bit too touchy. At first, I brushed it off, thinking I was just being paranoid, but then I started noticing more red flags. About 2 months before my wedding, I found out that Lena had been having an affair with Ben. And to make matters worse, she had been actively trying to undermine our relationship the entire time. She'd been sending Ben texts about how miserable I made him and how we were too different to last. She'd even go as far as to convince him to question our engagement, saying things like, maybe you're not ready for marriage, or maybe you're just settling. I was absolutely crushed when I found out. I confronted Lena and Ben privately, and Ben admitted to the affair. He apologized profusely and begged for forgiveness, saying he was in a weak moment and didn't know why he let it go as far as it did. Lena, on the other hand, was unapologetic. She told me that she had every right to go after Ben if I wasn't making him happy, and that I deserved to be hurt because I wasn't a good sister to her. I was devastated, but still decided to move forward with my wedding. I was going to call it off, but my therapist and a few close friends told me to take some time, think it through, and not make any rash decisions. In the end, I chose to forgive Ben and keep the wedding on, but I wasn't sure I could ever trust Lena again. Now, here's where things went to hell. At the wedding, Lena showed up with her date, some guy she's been casually seeing. I assumed everything was fine, but then during the reception, she pulled a stunt. She got up during the speeches and started giving a heartfelt toast about how important family is and how we should always have each other's backs, which seemed very pointed. Then she looked straight at me and said, sometimes it takes a betrayal to see who's really meant to be with you. I knew right then what she was doing. She was trying to make me look like a fool in front of my entire family. It was a weird mix of passive-aggressive and dramatic, and I was done. So in front of everyone, I stood up and exposed the affair. I told everyone exactly what had been happening between Lena and Ben and how they both lied to me for months. I told them that I wasn't going to let her get away with ruining my happiness just because she was jealous of my life. The fallout was immediate. People were shocked. My mom started crying, my dad stormed out, and Ben looked completely embarrassed. Lena, of course, tried to deny it, but I had the receipts, texts, screenshots, everything. My uncle tried to calm things down, but I wasn't having it. I wanted the truth out in the open. Now my family is split. My mom hasn't spoken to me since. She says I should have handled things more privately and that I humiliated Lena. Lena has been spreading lies about me, calling me a vindictive brat who ruined her life just to get back at her for existing. Some of my cousins are siding with Lena, saying I was too harsh, while others are supporting me, saying Lena deserved it. Ben is still asking for forgiveness and wants to work through things, but I don't know if I can get over the betrayal. He said that he'll make it up to me, but I can't shake the feeling that this was all a huge mess. So, am I the asshole for exposing my sister's affair at my wedding, or should I have just let it go and dealt with it privately later? She's not the asshole for exposing her, but she's kind of the asshole to herself for still deciding to get married to this guy after this whole thing happened. Because although, I'm sure if you asked a couples therapist about this, they would say that, a relationship or marriage can be repaired after infidelity. And I'm sure it can, but that ain't gonna work for me personally. Just me personally, if that happens, you're done. You're gone. And it kind of sounds like she's just kind of settling and trying to keep the peace with everything in a type of way by just choosing to get married anyway because she doesn't want to uproot her whole life. But in the end, your life is getting uprooted anyway, and arguably this is worse than if you would have just decided not to get married before. It sounds like I'm blaming OP for this whole situation, which I'm not, you know, but I genuinely think this is kind of, and everyone sucks here, because OP is not an asshole. They are not the asshole for what they did, but they do kind of suck for not having some self-respect and not canceling this whole engagement, to be completely honest with you. But she's not an asshole. The people that are the assholes are Ben, Lena, and also these family members. Again, with these Reddit stories, I don't understand how, like, one person is clearly in the wrong for something and the family is just like on the other person's side. I don't get it, because it says, let's see. The mom is saying that she could have handled things more privately to OP, which I think is ridiculous, because the stuff that Lena was saying was like, even if OP hadn't said anything to Lena, the stuff that Lena had already said was already probably raising eyebrows. Like, what is she talking about? I mean, like, the sister literally said, sometimes it takes a betrayal to really see who's meant to be with you. And she's saying that in front of everyone. She's the one who brought this out of private and brought it into the open, not OP here, because even if she had just said that and OP didn't like get up and announce this whole thing to her just saying sometimes it takes a betrayal to really see who's meant to be with you, that already would have got people talking. Like, so it is not OP's fault at all for making this like not private, because she did try to make it private. She confronted them about this privately first, and she wasn't going to talk about it at the wedding. It's the sister who brought all this out of the open, and I don't see how anyone in the family could possibly be siding with the sister. And also, why is the younger sister trying to get with the older sister's boyfriend? Like, does that happen? I feel like I've never heard that happen before. I think this comment sums it up nice. To be honest, I lost respect for you when you continued with the marriage, so I guess that makes you're the asshole to yourself. Yeah, I agree with that, because like I said, like, if she had some self-respect, she would have not have gone through with this marriage. And I also don't think she took her therapist's advice and thought this through, because if she actually thought this through, she would have seen that she probably shouldn't go through with this marriage. And I think, yeah, we have a comment here about that. Your therapist told you to think things through about going ahead with the wedding. You did not take her advice. Went ahead with the wedding knowing that you were not in the right frame of mind. Was it because you wanted to show that piece of shit sister Lena that you won Ben and he chose you? Why did you do that to yourself? Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. And there's another comment here that pointed out something that I completely didn't even notice. The younger sister is 19 and the guy is 30. And I know it's not the guy pursuing her. She's trying to pursue him. But still, him even going along with this makes him a creep weirdo. Okay, I thought I was being harsh on OP, but all the comments are like dogging on OP for even marrying him in the first place. Yeah, the comments are rough on this one, and I don't really have much else to say about it other than I do think that everyone kind of sucks here. I mean, there are people that are clearly worse than the others. Ben and Lena, they are the worst. But OP also sucks for not having any self-respect. She does. So yeah, that's a crazy one to end it off with, although not nearly as crazy as the first one. If I knew that first one was that crazy, I would have put it at the end, because that first one was absolutely bonkers. That one was calculated, cold revenge that I'm sure felt really good for that guy. That was definitely the craziest one today. But those are all the stories we have today. That is our revenge episode of Reddit Red, the first edition. We'll be sure to do more, because revenge stories are always some of the best. So anyways, remember to like and subscribe, and be sure to leave a comment down below of future topics that you would like to see. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.